Chloé Hayden, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited because, like, I just want to first say, masks off, dude.
Period.
Do your thing. Be like whatever you need to do. As I said to you, this is a safe space for the neurodivergence to occur. So, however the fuck that takes place, whatever you want. Look around the room. Don't look at whatever you want. I'll shut my eyes every now and then when I'm trying to remember shit. Congratulations on the book. Let's get the plug out of the way because otherwise I'll forget and then I'll stay up for 4 nights in a row feeling bad. Different Not Less, a Neurodivergence Guide to Embracing Your True Self and Finding Your Happily Ever After. Congratulations on writing a fucking book.
Thanks.
It's not easy.
No, it wasn't easy, but yeah, it's out now, so it's very exciting. Like, so the hard work's done.
What's been the best thing? Like, what surprised you about this coming out?
About the book actually, like,
yeah,
being
like
out?
this experience of being now a published author.
The weirdest thing is seeing my book, like, actually there.
Well,
and,
it's
like,
sold out, isn't it? In
Yeah,
Dimps?
it's, yeah.
Oh, what a problem.
Which is, yeah, it's nuts. Like, it's so weird. But, like, the first time I actually ever saw my book out was at, like, 11 o'clock at night at, like, this sketchy little newsagents at an airport. And it was the most, like, dream, like, surreal thing. I wasn't expecting to see it there. Literally just wandering. And I saw my book front and center. And I literally, like, I had, like, my backpack on. I literally just dropped it. And I was, like, wearing pajamas and, like, yellow Crocs. And I was like, what is going on right now? I was
The
like,
surge of dopamine.
The dopamine, I have, like, the dopamine hit that I received. It was so weird. And, like, sometimes I'll be, like, I've been on a plane once and I saw someone reading it, and I've been on trains and I've seen people reading it, and I'm like,
don't you want to go over to them and
I want to just be like, what do you think? Do you like it?
Yeah.
Please praise me.
Yeah. In my book, I literally wrote on, like, page 200, this is the spot where you have to go find me on Instagram and tell me how much you like the book.
Yeah.
Because I'm an instant gratification girl.
Yes.
Putting a book out, it's like, I have to fucking wait. And I'm like,
yes.
no, I need...
Oh, my God. The process, the hold-up process between, like, I finished it.
Yeah.
But I can't tell anyone and nothing's out yet. And I was just, like, sitting there waiting.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And we need the praise.
We need the praise. Words of affirmation for us neurodivergent chicks. Go.
So the book is, it's killing it. So
Thank you.
I know the relief. And I also know how hard it is to write a book. And you were shooting Heartbreak High
At the same time.
This is nuts.
Crazy.
How did you not, like, were you just running on adrenaline the entire time?
I cried a lot.
Oh my God. Good. Her tears are in this book, everybody. You go and buy this fucking
blood,
thing.
Sweat, and tears.
She cried on the pages.
Like
of this
meltdown
book.
every 3 pages.
Oh, darling.
It was fine though. It was okay. You know what? Like Heartbreak was nuts. We would do like 14, 15, 16-hour days. And then I was like,
Really?
I have deadlines to do afterwards. So I would either like get home, like open my laptop and start smashing out pages, or like on our breaks, I would like open up my computer and do it on set too. Like it was nuts.
And also to write really well, you have to go back and relive the trauma. That's what got me. Like, I said to my publishers, are you going to pay for a fucking therapist?
Yes, exactly. But you know the good thing? I had to do some pretty hectic scenes in Heartbreak that had a lot of trauma. So I was like, girl, I just wrote about this yesterday. Like, let's go. Like, it's good because it's like 2 traumas for the price of 1.
Oh, my gosh. So unhealthy, but I get it. Because I often workshop my trauma on stage in a leotard with a band.
Yeah.
Which is not healthy. And I now realize, like, not healthy. But that's how I used to process it. I was like, oh, fuck, I need to say this out loud.
Yeah.
Get it out of my body. Maybe I haven't processed it yet, but, you know, write some songs. I had 12 dancing vulvas one year when I was, like, so angry about everything, and I just needed these vulvas around me for strength. And then there was another show where I had a giant penis that blew up. Like, I don't know. And now I look back and realize, oh, these are all novelty things that my brain is searching for. But I understand processing trauma through performance. Mm-hmm. But that can be particularly hard for people like us, though.
Definitely.
Like, how long does it take you? It takes me ages to get over stuff like that.
Oh, my God. But, like, here's the thing. Even with really tiny things, like disappointment is my worst emotion. It hurts.
Well,
so
the rejection
bad.
sensitivity
Rejection
dysphoria, which I learned is a thing.
Yes, I didn't know it was a thing. I just thought I was just like a dramatic bitch until I discovered that this is like an actual thing. But like people will, like they'll say something to me and I can't, like they'll say something very normal, but like I'll be like, the way you looked at me just then,
the
tone, I saw you like look to your left when usually you look to your, that means you hate me and you want me out of your life and you want me dead.
I'm like, my language.
I'm convinced everyone hates me as like,
that's default setting.
They'll take 3 seconds to reply to me and I go, why didn't you take 1 second?
Yeah.
You hate me.
But I never message anyone back.
Then I will take like 4 months to reply to someone and I'll be like, girl, this is fine.
Please don't. Yeah, I'm really like, it's hard for me. All right. But you have to respond to me. But it's really hard for me to respond to you. I'm the same. And that's the ADHD, ASD, like constant struggle and battle.
Yes.
It's like, I really want to be spontaneous and will the wisp and everything. But if we've got plans and I've scheduled my whole day around getting there on time or probably 15 minutes late, let's be honest.
Yes.
And you fucking change them on me? No.
Absolutely.
Not okay.
Dude, the ADHD and autism demon.
Oh, they
hate each other.
Yeah, it's a swirl. I feel myself in that battle all the time. Like, I need order around me, but I'm fucking messy.
Yes.
So it's just, I just need it to be clean and tidy and beautiful, but it's either that or like a hovel. And I haven't found the middle ground in any aspect of my life. Emotions, like cleaning, dressing, nothing.
Yes.
It's like I'm either in pajamas on tracksuit pants or I'm in sequins.
Yes. Oh my God. It's like 0 to 100. I have no in between.
Oh, you're the first person I've met who has similar, I guess, mannerisms and symptoms to me, to be honest.
Sick.
You're like literally the first person that I will speak to that. Seeing Quinni made me really emotional. And I just thought, fuck, if she had been around when I was a kid, I would have felt, because like you, and you've said this a lot, I knew from a very early age, I often felt like I'd been sent like from another planet to observe humans. And from like 3, I remember thinking about like my mum would step on a snail and then I'd be like, but what about its family? Like it's going to be waiting for the snail to come home and where does it live? And do I need to go and find its house to let it know? And my mum would be like, no, it's fine. Like it's eating the plants, but it's not fine. And then I'd watch the ants and I'd imagine what their houses were like and if they go inside and like they have tiny little chairs and what did they eat? Where did they put the crumbs and how did they carry it? And I would sit there and I'd say all this out loud and everyone would look at me like, what the fuck?
Why are we the same person? Why are we literally the same person? I have never heard anyone like, that's so weird.
Really?
Like, why are we the actual same person?
What do you mean? Explain.
Like, literally the exact same thing. That was like a memory that was like back here.
Oh.
It was in like this much in the back of my head. I have like, you just brought everything up. I'm like, no one has ever spoken about that before. I pushed that back because I thought no one else did that.
I do it.
Every single thing that you've said since like when I first walked into this door, I'm like, why are we the same person?
Look,
this is so weird.
It's good to know that we're not alone. I walk past people's houses and I smell their houses and I immediately imagine their life.
Oh my God, me too. People watching and like people just like they're getting into their little lives, like sitting at the airport, just watching everyone going like, you're an actual person with actual feelings and an actual life and an actual history and an actual future. That's crazy.
I do the same thing. When you go home, like, what colour are your sheets? And have you washed them? And you hop in them, what do they smell like? What kind of washing powder are you using?
What did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, yes. When you were a kid, did you imagine you would dye your hair that colour? Was that something you were living towards? I do that all the time. Oh my gosh. See, it's good to know.
This is so nice.
I spiral into, I don't know, and I always have, and my brain just keeps going at spiders, it jumps. And then when I started realising that wasn't really okay, then I turned it all inward and I made myself much smaller. But then every now and then I'd like explode.
Yeah.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
It was just like, especially if I got excited about something.
Yes, 100%.
My whole body
catch yourself?
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Big thing.
Yeah. So you were diagnosed at 13.
Yes.
Both ADHD and autism?
I was diagnosed as autistic at 13 and then ADHD at 23.
Oh, babes.
Yeah.
It's pretty recent.
Yeah, recent.
God. And are you hyper and the other one? I'm both. I'm a combo.
I don't
Inattentive.
remember. I wasn't even going for an ADHD diagnosis because, like, kind of similar to, I guess, a lot of people's stereotypes of autism, I kind of had quite a similar one to ADHD. I was like, but I'm not like a 4-year-old, like, little kid, like, running off the walls on red cordial. And I'm like, that's not me. I wasn't even going for a diagnosis. My psychologist literally was just like, you have ADHD. And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm autistic. And they're like, no, I'm diagnosing you. No, you have ADHD. And I was like, that's literally not possible. And then he gave me these resources and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't it wild when you start reading about it?
Yeah, and realizing like, oh my God, my entire life, every single thing I've been through, every single thing I think, every single part of my life, every struggle I've had that I'm like, why am I like this? It explains it like right here. And I'm like, oh, like it was the biggest light bulb moment.
Yeah. So as a teen, when you were, I get a lot of parents, and I'm new to this. And often people are like, how did no one tell you that you were neurodivergent until you were 42? But again, I think people just put that down to Em being weird, quirky. I really hate the word quirky because it was always thrown at me as an insult.
Yes. Oh my God, you're like so quirky.
Quirky.
Yeah, all the popular girls at school.
They want to say weird.
Like, you're so quirky.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I was like, you really want to say weird or fucked?
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah,
yes.
That's what that is. So I bristle when someone says, oh, she's so quirky. I'm like, oh God, please don't call me that. I get a lot. Parents now, especially through, I guess, being in my community, are noticing their kids are perhaps like me and getting them diagnosed. And as someone and they ask me, how can I best support my teenager? And so you've recently been a teenager, way more recent than me, and I never know what to say to them because my parents didn't really know what to do with me. I was an internal mystery, dramatic, like rearranging my room every 3 days when I felt like my life was out of control.
Me.
Had to start again. Like, cannot just...
Wipe the slate.
Yeah, like I cannot just put one cup away. If I open the door and all the cups are fucked, I got to clean all the cupboards out and start again.
Yes.
Yeah. So how can they help their teen? Like, I just want you to give them, because you're so clever. And this book, also get this book because it is a how-to guide. It's beautiful stories, but it's also a roadmap for teenagers and for parents. Like I found it hard to read. We'll get to that because some bits were just like, you taught me a couple things. Oh my God. Okay, go. How should we parent you? What can we do?
Understand that our brains are magic.
Good.
And we have such an idea in our society that we have to be a certain way and that our kids have to be a certain way and that humans in general have to be a certain way. That's not the way that the world is. That's bullshit. The world doesn't work unless there's different. And autistic kids and ADHD kids and neurodivergent kids are going to be those people that are pioneering what different means and what the incredible thing about being different is. And yes, there's going to be struggles and there might be different struggles than you would find in perhaps a neurotypical kid. The biggest thing that I can say is look for the strengths and look for the superpowers, look for the eye sparkles, look at what they can do. Because if we're only focusing on this person is weird and this person struggles with this and this person needs to rearrange their cups when, they take one out of their room, then we're never going to see the beauty of it because it is beautiful. I love being neurodivergent. I would never change that about myself. And it's really important that parents see that too. Yeah.
And I think it's important to remember if the world was set up for people like us, it wouldn't be ever considered a negative if you got the diagnosis.
Absolutely, 100%.
You know what I mean?
The only reason it's negative is because society has this one-size-fits-all system, which it doesn't.
It was set up by 40-year-old straight white blokes.
Exactly.
That's the neutral.
I'm convinced.
Yeah, that's the neutral.
Yeah, exactly. I'm convinced that if neurodivergents were the majority, they would be considered so much weirder than we are.
Absolutely.
I'm convinced. Like, I look at the typicals and I'm like, why do you do that?
Yeah, you don't even like it. They do a lot of stuff they do
so much stuff
because they're the rules.
It's like when I'm like, I do it this way and they go, why? And I'm like, well, because ABC, this is how it works. And they go, yeah, okay, fair enough. But I'll be like, why do you think it's polite to make eye contact? And why do you have to do this? And why does this work? And they're like, well, I don't know, you just do it. And I'm like, but why? Yeah. And I'm like, I'm convinced if they were the minority, people would
it's so true.
Put them in an asylum or something. Because I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense.
And often is their answer just because, that's just how we do it. Why?
But why? Explain to me.
It's not working for you.
Literally.
You fucking hate it.
Literally. Oh my God.
And schools are set up for kids like us to fail flat out. Turn up at 8:30 in the morning. Yeah. I haven't slept till 2 a.m. because my brain can't switch off till that time.
100%.
Sit still for how long? In a hot room, studying shit we have no interest in and will never use again. And fucking school was the worst for me. And then when my kids now I know better, I'm just in there like, oh, no, they're not doing NAPLAN. No, she's not doing standardized tests. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
No, if you wanted to write a story for English, it'll be a graphic novel.
Yes.
And they don't fight me. Because I don't care about her grades. I don't care about where she sits compared to other kids that aren't like her. I just want her to be curious and love learning.
Yeah.
And when you give the school permission, they're like, oh, cool. They take the foot off the pressure because a lot of pressure comes from parents on schools. My kid has to perform. My kid has to get A's, blah, blah, blah. Why is my kid not enjoying school? It's because of us as parents often. And I think if you can, if someone had advocated for me and gone in and gone, just let her draw and run.
Yeah.
She'll be fine. Let her do a dance every now and then.
Yeah.
Because maths may as well have been in another fucking language.
Me too.
Yeah, and science, chemistry, made me want to cry.
Yeah.
I literally forged my mother's signature to get out of year 12
Oh my God.
maths.
I did the same thing.
Stop it.
I didn't do year 12 maths.
Me neither. I pretended to.
No, my teacher, I got homeschooled from year 8 onwards. And when I was in year 8, my teacher was like, don't even try. We don't want to grade that. And I was like, period. Okay. I think I peaked in grade 4 math. And now, my sister is in grade 4 and she'll give me her homework and I'm like, don't.
Oh, same. Because my eldest child she got like a 97, which I don't even know how that happened. And she would be sitting there doing maths and I'd be like, fucking hell, no.
What is that?
Good luck. I wish you luck, madam. I wish you all the luck. Good for you. I'm so proud of you. But no, mummy. But if they have like book week, oh, mate, my kids turn up in full drag.
Yes.
Like, they're my strengths. I love that you said that, find their strengths. That's so important. They've got to have wins.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're not going to have wins. It's like, it's not, like, math was never something that I was going to be good at. I would just sit there, like, making myself vomit from how much I was crying because of it. Like, I'm never going to be strong at that.
No.
So instead, give me something that I can be strong at. And, like, I love my horses and stuff like that. So my dad, when I was homeschooled, instead of doing, like, you know, worksheets, he'd be like, okay, let's go out to the paddock and you have to time your horse's strides for jumping.
Oh.
And I'm like, this is important to me. I have to do this because I have to be able to make sure me and my horse can do well together. And I was able to do math with that and, like, weighing out the feed for them and stuff like that. And, like, the parameters for my axolotl tank. Like, that's all math. But I didn't even think of it as math because I'm like, I'm doing something that's really important to me. Like, you don't have to be sitting there doing textbooks and stuff. Find, like, if you have to do it, find ways that they can do it.
Yes.
Find ways to incorporate it into their life.
I don't care about Pythagoras or his theorem, and I've never used it once.
Exactly.
Ever since. Do not care. I want to talk to you about Heartbreak High because we're all obsessed. Tell me about getting cast. Tell me about I want to hear, I'm obsessed. I want to know from the moment you found out it was happening, go.
Okay, so I was actually at a rodeo in Bonnie Doon when...
Of course you were. We are going to Bonnie Doon. Good.
When I got the casting call for it and my agent sent it through and it was kind of just an open casting call and I was like, like if I get time, I'll do it. But then I looked at it and the script said that Quinni was a neurodivergent character and like immediately like sparks went off because I've never ever seen that before. And usually if I was, you know, competing, I would go, I'll just look at it when I get home or whatever. I literally was like reading the script from like the moment I got it. I would like be in my swag at night reading the script. There's a video of me like on my horse doing the competition and you can see my lips moving because I'm reciting the script in my head.
Good sign.
Because I'm like, I have to get this.
Yeah.
And I did the audition, sent it through and like every single day for weeks, I would call my agent and I'd be like, have you heard anything? And he's like, no. And I'm like, have you heard anything? No. I'm like, email him and be like, are you sure that they have the right email address? And
check your junk mail.
Yeah. I'm like, check your junk mail. And he's like, Chloe, I will tell you if they send me something. And I'm like, okay, have they sent anything yet? And
just like any feedback.
I'm like, just tell me anything. I'm like, I need something. I need something. Yeah, I know. I'm like, just give me any information.
Yeah.
And eventually I did get the information and it was you have a callback and then it was you have chemistry reads, which is when you read with other actors and stuff. And it just kept on going and kept on going. And they would call up and be like, hey, we're kind of thinking of this. Or like, how do you feel about doing these sorts of scenes and stuff like that? And then when I found out, I was on the border of Victoria and New South Wales doing a talk up there. And it was 9:30 at night and my PA was like, hey, you have 30 missed calls from your agent. And I was like my heart dropped.
Fucking knew.
Like my heart dropped into my butt. I was like, oh my God. And so I was like, okay. And I took my phone outside and I called him and all he said is, are you sitting down? And I wept.
I'm getting goosebumps. I got goosebumps.
Like scream crying. I collapsed to the ground, crying my eyes out.
Yeah.
Because like this wasn't just a role for me. I was like, oh my God, I get to play someone that's autistic. Like this is such a breakthrough. And
literally the first one ever in this country.
And like it was such a breakthrough for me. Like I have waited my entire life for this and crying my eyes out. All of my makeup, I had like glitter on and crazy makeup on and everything and it was gone. And
it's just the usual day for you.
Just the usual day for me. And I had to go back in because I had to perform again. And
you had to tell everyone, but you can't?
No, I wasn't allowed to. I couldn't tell anyone for almost a year.
I would have exploded.
Literally, I kept on crying on stage. And like, people were like, hey girlie, what's wrong?
Okay?
What's wrong? And I was like, I'm just like really happy to be here, you know? But like I was sick because I was also like by myself. Like I couldn't even go and like go to my parents and like scream to them and stuff.
No.
I was like, oh my God, I just have to sit here and do my job still.
Yeah. And also focusing on that.
And also focus. I couldn't focus. I blacked
Yeah,
out after that. I have no idea what happened after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just the most incredible experience. It was so cool.
And so you got it, and then how long till you're on set?
I think I got it in, I want to say like maybe April or May. I got the job and then we started filming in November.
Of last year? Of the year before?
Of 2021. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And it was full on shoot, quick?
Yeah, so we moved up and we had like pre-production for like 2 weeks.
Yep.
And it was basically just like, hey, you're going to meet everyone. And I was terrified of that because...
Of course, new people? No, thank you.
Not only new people, but I got homeschooled because I was like beaten up by people my age. I'm terrified of other people my age. And I was like, part of me was like, maybe I don't want to do this because I'm like, I have to be surrounded by like 15 of my peers. And I'm like, I'm going to get bullied and they're going to hate me and they're going to think I'm weird. And I'm going to be a loner and a loser and everyone's going to hate me. And I walked in and the first day I met everyone, it was literally like, I found my people.
You can tell.
I was like, I could tell immediately. I was like, I felt so safe so immediately. So for the first 2 weeks, it was getting to know everyone, doing rehearsals.
Because the chemistry between the main cast, you know, like, my God, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
Well, I think it is.
And it's
like,
real.
Yeah, it's real. Like we're all best friends in real life, you know, like these people are my family. And yeah, I think it really shows. So yeah, we had pre-production for 2 weeks and then started filming, I think the first week in November. And then it was just, you know, full ball from then until March, I think.
And it drops on Netflix.
Yes.
And the reaction, like you're the Beyonce of the cast, let's be honest. Everyone's talking about you. No disrespect, I love the entire cast, but for season 1, and there's going to be a season 2, I know they will in my waters, why wouldn't they? You have come out as, I don't know, I cried. There was when you go and you're on your date and the ambient noise starts to just get to you. That was a lot. I had to stop the episode. That was a lot. And I realized at that moment, I have never seen that experience. And I wonder have you had that feedback from a lot of people like us saying,
so many people.
It was triggering, but in a good way.
Yeah, well, a lot of I've seen so many young people that have like dragged their parents over to watch it. And
I did
this.
Yeah, send it to all my family members. Watch this scene.
Yeah, which is amazing because like there really hasn't been like I've never been able to do that. I've never been able to go, Mum, I can't explain it to you myself. Watch this.
Yeah.
And I've had so many teenagers send me a message going like, my mum gets me now, and I'm like, shit, man. Like that's that's the most important thing out of all of it. Like, it's a great series. It's funny. It's great. It's got good drama. But the fact that young people are going, my parents understand who I am now. I'm like, oh my God. Like, that's the reason I do what I do.
Correct. Because you remember what it is to be and you viscerally understand being misunderstood.
Yeah.
And if you can help, and this is what got me after I did the press club speech, if I've helped 3 or 4, but maybe thousands of people not feel super alone at 2 a.m. crying, not wanting to get out of bed and feeling like the world is against them and what the fuck is wrong with me. If I've been able to alleviate that pressure in some way, then all my stress it's all been worth it.
Yeah.
You know, all this shit that because they asked me so many times and I said no so many times, and then I realized you're being really selfish. Like, your shit isn't as important as making 10-year-old, someone who was like you at 10, feel better. And that's what you've done with Quinni. Like, it's massive. And if you do nothing else in your fucking life, which you obviously will, that's a massive achievement.
Thank you.
Actors, not many actors get to do that. Like, it's a true, you're the first. And also, it's a bit sad that 2022.
Yeah, this is the first time we've seen this sort of representation.
Wild.
I know, like, it's sick, but at the same time, I'm like, why am I the first?
No, I'm glad it's you.
Thank
I mean,
you.
I'm also worried for you because it's a lot to carry. It's a lot, and I understand that. Like, you sort of become the face of it, and people call you and they want comments on shit, and they, you know, like, I found that because there's been a lot of ADHD in the press lately, and I keep getting phone calls like, do you want to make a comment? Do you want to make a comment? I'm like, no, I did a 45-minute comment on it, and I don't want to be that person because I also am aware that it's a spectrum, and I don't represent everybody with ADHD. Everyone's different. And so, yeah, it's a lot. And you're only 25, babes. Got to pace yourself. Are you going to have some time off soon?
Girl, I don't know.
Babes.
I
worry for you. Just know I have done the burnout. Like,
oh my God, I think I'm constantly living in burnout.
You taught me about autistic burnout.
Did I?
I didn't know that existed.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't know. It's in the book, I was reading it, and I had to put the book down after that, and I texted our EP band and I said, okay, I'm burnt out. Because I just was, all the symptoms you described was happening.
Wow.
Even the non-verbal, I was just, I couldn't. And I do a podcast for a living, and I'm a comic, which is not great. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. When did you learn about autistic burnout?
I think I knew that I had it all the time. Like, I was selectively mute until I was 16.
Can you describe autistic burnout for those who don't know?
Yeah, okay. So basically, autistic burnout is basically just the end result of existing in a society that is very neurotypical pleasing and very anti-neurodivergent, and giving yourself for too much for too long.
And what are the symptoms?
The symptoms can be like going nonverbal.
Yeah.
Whether that's for a couple of hours.
Yep.
If I've been burnt out quite a lot over the past few months, just because I'm very, very excited to be doing what I'm doing, but it does come with a big toll. And there'll be a lot of the time where I go nonverbal for 2 or 3 hours at night, and then next day I'm like, right as rain again. But nonverbal for days, even weeks at a time, can be a symptom. Extreme fatigue for months on end can be a symptom.
Like in your blood fatigue.
Yeah, like as in it's like, it's not like, oh, I need a nap.
No.
It's like it feels like you're like wading through molasses.
Yeah.
Like
it's almost radiating from the inside out.
Yeah.
It's not like tired eyes.
So.
It's like coming from your soul.
Yeah. It's not like, it's literally, it's like wading through molasses.
Yeah.
I've also noticed that when I'm burnt out, my executive functioning disappears. And my coordination, my motor skills,
bumping
gone.
into shit.
I bump it like the bruises that I get all over my body. Like when I'm like, I'll be like, oh, I think I'm burnt out because my whole body is black and blue. I'll drop my toothbrush. I'll like stab myself in the eye when I'm doing my makeup. I
cannot do a winged eyeliner when I'm in that situation.
I can't do a winged eyeliner, period.
I just noticed all my normal skills go fucked.
Yeah. So like basic skills, like it's basically what burnout is, and meltdown as well, is regressing to your most primal state. It's like it's like, you know, when like your computer is buffering and it like has like the spinny thing on it, that's your body. It's like, I can't do anything right now. My entire job right now is to keep you alive. Yeah. And that means that anything that is an optional part of living is gone from you, and you haven't taken that away yourself, so your body forces it to get taken away from you.
Amazing that you have put this in a book, and that people like me can now, like, I just now walk into my house and say to my kids and my husband, I've got 1%.
Yeah.
No questions.
No spoons.
Nothing. Like, I can't do anything. You guys have to figure it all out. And I've never done that in my whole life, because I'm a people pleaser. I don't let people down.
Yes.
I want people to think the best of me.
Yes person.
Me too. And the most powerful thing is, can I think about that?
Yes.
Can I get
and
back
being
to you?
allowed to say no,
Mate.
like giving yourself the right to say no.
Just advocating for yourself.
Yeah.
This is too loud. Can you turn that off? I don't like that smell.
Yeah.
I would never have said those things. I would have just suffered silently for ages and ages. And now I just say it. I just go, no, I can't. That's, can we go outside?
And it's such a skill. Like, I'm still learning it. I can only do it around a couple of people, because I'm like, I already know that I'm safe with you, and I know that you're going to love me regardless. But it's a skill to learn.
It'll come. I'm old.
I'm getting there.
You will. You'll get there way quicker than I have. But I'm just like, oh, fuck it. They already.
I love that. I love that.
You just got to advocate for yourself now.
Yeah.
Even with, like, I won't do briefing calls before gigs now, because I hate briefing calls. They stress me out. It's often, my hearing's really bad, and we have to do like on speaker with like 4 or 5 people, and they want to explain to me how to like give a talk or something. I know how to give a talk.
Right.
But they just want to brief me on the event. And I'm like, we're not doing this anymore. And my management's like, what do you mean? And I said, I can't hear them. I get anxious about them. I say weird shit. I say really fucking weird shit, because I'm like, get in my head, and then it all goes pear-shaped, and then I spend the night not sleeping because I've maybe fucked up the gig.
Yeah.
So like, it's not worth it.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah. The
Just
up all
do it.
night thinking about things.
Oh my God.
It's like, I said a thing and now they hate me and I'm going to get fired. I do that all the time.
It's the sensitivity stock take, I call it. Lay in bed doing the stock take of all the time.
Oh my God, I love that. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I stock take every night.
Sensitivity stock take.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, oh my God, yes.
So you don't leave the house. Or you go only around people who like always know that you're coming from a good place.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to make t-shirts that say I'm not a cunt, I'm autistic.
Oh my God, I would wear them.
And in kid sizes too.
Love.
I can't. But I often say now, I'm like, I say, I'm not a cunt. I'm not an over the top dramatic, tetchy, sensitive human. There's a reason. I want to know like and I hate it when people ask me this question, but I'm going to put it on you. Like, what's next? You're 25. You're in a best high-rating fucking Netflix show. You've got a best-selling book on your hand. Thank you. Like, do you know? Is there a Chloé dream diary where you wrote the big thing in?
You know what? Ever since I did anything, my goal has always just been, I want to be happy and I want to make sure I've given young Chloé a second chance at living, and I want to give other young people their second chance, and whatever form that comes in, I don't mind, you know,
Yeah.
like I didn't expect any of this, you know,
Yeah.
like I couldn't speak until I was 16 and now I'm on a Netflix show and wrote a book and doing podcasts and sitting here with you and I'm like, damn, I didn't expect any of this. Like last week I didn't expect any of this. Like even if like 20-year-old Chloe knew what 25-year-old Chloe was doing, she wouldn't believe you.
Yeah.
You know, blow her brains out.
Yeah.
So I don't know what is happening in an hour. I don't know what's happening next week. I don't know what's happening in 5 years. If I can just continue being happy and continue making sure that other young people get their second chance, I'm happy. I've done what I meant to do.
I love that. But, you know, the ADHD, the dopamine demon, you say yes to wild things.
I say yes to everything because I'm like, oh my God, like the opportunities might run out. Or like I get the worst FOMO. I have the worst
Same.
FOMO. But then I'm there and I'm like, I don't even want to do this.
Yeah, why am I here?
Literally, I get the worst FOMO. But learning how to say no is a big thing as well. But yeah, there's like so many amazing opportunities happening at the moment for me. And I'm like, I just want to be part of everything.
I know, but you do have to like protect your peace.
Yes, and I'm really lucky that I have a very beautiful support network around me and they have said no for me. Like they'll be like, no, I can see that this isn't good for you.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Sit down.
That's good.
Which is great because I can't do it myself. So if I have someone else doing it for me, and because also I'm always so worried that I'm like, I don't want to offend you. I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't want to say no. So like my partner or my agent or my mum will be like, she's not doing it.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, it just like pressure's gone.
That's good. You figured this out way earlier than I did. I'm really proud of it. Oh my gosh.
So important.
They're good. But I'm often the fucking support network. I don't want to be that. Like my entire family neurodivergent. We're all assholes. It's really hard.
Right.
Like no one, people say to me, oh, when you got diagnosed, did your family change? I'm like, nah. No, because all three of my kids are, my husband definitely is, but won't go get a diagnosis. So I'm just going to keep saying it on a podcast until he does. So they're all assholes. We are impossible to live with. All of us are sensitive. We all fucking yell at each other all the time. There's mess everywhere. Like it's chaos. And I can't imagine what it would be like to have neurotypicals. Like sometimes I have to say to my husband, do you have a body double? Do you get someone who's atypical to body double you on stuff? Is your manager a neurotypical?
As far as I know. But I have this awful habit where I diagnose everyone
same,
in my
babes.
life.
Of course.
Like I'll say to everyone, I'm like, hey, you're autistic or like you're ADHD. I don't know if you know that, but you are. Congratulations. And I don't have the degree to tell them that, but I do it anyway.
Oh, I had to try and stop doing that because like not everyone sees it as a positive like we do.
I know.
You gotta remember that.
I've had people do that. I've been yelled at because I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like I think you're autistic. And they're like, you think I'm what?
I know.
And I'm like, good thing, positive. And they're like, why is that positive? I've diagnosed my mum and my dad. I'm like, my mum is ADHD and I've diagnosed her for years. Like since before I had my diagnosis, I'm like, Mum, you're ADHD. And now she's like actually getting her diagnosis. And my dad, I'm convinced is autistic. Like I'm
Yes.
convinced like my autism came from my dad and my ADHD came from my mum.
Oh, same.
Yeah, right. But like my dad isn't going to get a diagnosis, but like I've like kind of poked fun at him for years, going like, oh, you're acting autistic again, and like now he's like, oh yeah, like I'm autistic, but like I don't need a diagnosis. So
Yeah, my dad is Italian and like wonderful, but like both his grandsons have been diagnosed autistic, like me, like there's all around him.
it's genetic.
I'm
It
like,
came
yeah.
from someone.
Vincy! And he's such a he's hilarious, but he's got every like quintessence you can't imagine. And yeah, but my parents, and I get it, they're in their 60s, he's 70. And it's just like, why change it?
That's the thing. It's like if you don't need the support, or if the label isn't going to help you, then
It does,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't with him. And but he's just exists in his own
yeah, which
time
is
and space
great.
continuum, honestly. He's got his big garage, he lives on a nice property, and he just rewires tellies and shit and plays music, and that's
Live your life, man.
what he does. That's what he does. Hey, thank you so much for coming. I'm just so glad you are out there making shit, and I'm glad you exist. And if there's any way I can help you at all in the future, please don't hesitate
Thank you.
to ask me. Yeah, I'm just buy Chloe's book, Different Not Less, although you'll struggle to get it because it's sold out everywhere. Watch Heartbreak High. And are you going to be doing more acting, do you think? Is this
Yes,
you've been bitten?
acting is definitely my passion because I've had to act my whole life anyway, dude. Like I've masked my entire life. I might as well get paid for it.
What are you unmasked before you go? I want to ask you, who are you? Do you know that? Like, who's pure Chloe? Because I don't know who pure Em is. That's why I'm
I
doing
don't think
therapy.
I know who pure Chloe is either. Because like the thing is, like when I'm bubbly and like right now, I'm like I know I'm putting on a mask because I know I'm performing, but at the same time, like this is also the most authentic version of me.
Same.
But also when I'm like sitting on my bed, rocking back and forth, holding my cat, I'm like that's also the most authentic version of me. I think authentic me is when I'm like this feels right for me, but
Good.
I'm still learning that, you know.
Now, you know what I've learned, because I do weekly therapy also, is that it's like it's linear in that it's not one spot. it's like a spectrum. It's a sliding scale. And so they're all you, but it just depends.
Exactly.
Just depends where you land.
Exactly, 100%. And
There's not like one quintessential version of you.
100%. Yeah.
And I think for a long time I thought that there was.
Yes, it's like, oh, I'm only, like, this is the only version of me.
She's
And if I'm
loud,
not-
she's colourful,
Yeah.
she's friendly. So I'm like, but no, sometimes I'm the complete opposite of that.
Exactly.
Because I fucking hate everyone. Everything pisses me off. Everything. And I need to disappear. And I fantasize about like opening a banana stand in Queensland and like just nobody knowing anything about me. And then others are like, give me it all. Give me the stage.
Yeah.
I want all the
Oh
recognition.
my God, me.
Yeah. Right? And they're both us.
Yeah,
And
100%.
we need to keep encouraging, especially neurodivergent people, that because you do when you get the diagnosis and you do realise, fuck, I've been masking and I'm a different character for every portion of my life too.
Yeah,
I
which
figure
is
out,
fine.
Yeah.
Like, you're living in a fairy tale. You're allowed to be different characters at different times.
Yeah, and that's part of who you are. Never change, my love. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Perfect.